Good evening. Tonight's going to be a quick chat dedicated to all the brothers and sisters out there. Kind of try to keep it light and something that I'm compelled to talk about tonight. I try not to plan too much. I want to keep it authentic, at least here when live and sort of chatting, so that there's some authenticity and we can learn together. You know, different than when there's a specific desire to teach. That's a different story. The approach is different, but so, you know, let's try to keep it open to the point where we're all here to contribute to the conversation, right, in our understanding, and to make sure that when we talk about some of these things, we're honest about our knowledge, our experience, our perspective, so that we can better learn when we maybe are unwittingly becoming a puppet for lies or for a misunderstanding that can turn into a dangerous situation. You know, I've been talking about with a lot of my sort of contemporaries about this movement that seems to be coming, that's kind of bundling up a bunch of different ideas and calling it Satan, while at the same time beginning to sow this divide of who's with us and against us, and who's our enemy and who's our ally, and oddly that's shifting in some strange ways. That's clear to people with a certain perspective, and I think a lot of the people who have that perspective need to step up and begin to speak about what they're seeing. It's already happening to a certain degree, of course, but I think that there's people out there that know what I'm talking about. I saw a video tonight which I thought was really interesting. This video was referring to an individual who claims that he infiltrated the Freemasons and videotaped a dark satanic ritual and tried to equate the symbolism of Freemasonry. Get this, guys. He tried to equate the symbols of Freemasonry with the Antichrist. Ooh, spooky. I mean, it's kind of laughable because it's one of those things like, you know, we had a joke when we were. It's funny. We were kids. Yeah, some people in my generation, the Xers out there, you're gonna remember this one. No Soap Radio. You guys remember No Soap Radio? Right. It goes a couple different ways, and so I'll just, you know, off the top of my head, I'm gonna kind of take you through it. But basically, there's two koalas sitting in a bathtub, and the one says to the other one, "Could you pass the soap?" And the other one says, "No soap radio." Now, of course, that's not funny. It makes no sense. But the point is that what it is an in joke. You know, you have 4 friends, and 3 of the friends know the in joke, and the 4th one doesn't. Okay. And so they tell the joke, and all the in friends laugh at it automatically because they're in on the joke, that there is no joke. And then the 4th one has to make a decision, right? Do I laugh also so I can be part of the club, or do I, you know, assert my bravery and say, I don't get it? Everyone laughs at the joke. And it's funny because the people who are in on it, their laughter becomes real. and they're laughing at the person who's pretending and doesn't realize that they're the punchline. That's to the creators of some of these videos, okay? That's who you are. There's another concept I want to talk about, and a lot of people know this concept. A lot of people use it in their daily lives to feel better when they're in a group full of people so they can seem smarter or more superior. It's shop talk. Shop talk, right? And shop talk is not just, slang, right? That's not what we're referring to. Shop talk is very specific. There's certain terms, they're industry specific, they're within the scope of a certain space of states, a certain parlance that has nothing to do with normal conversation. It's almost like a symbolic language. And if you're not sort of in the privy, right? If you're not in the club, if you don't have the vocabulary, you're going to hear things spoken that seem completely different than you're thinking, because you don't understand what those words mean. And this includes even people who are supposedly initiated, right? That really just sort of haven't grasped yet that the underlying truth of what they're learning is a very specific knowledge that has many different vocabularies, that has many different ways of conveying that same truth. A lot of these people try to bundle everything up and stick it, in a pile and call it Satan. I challenge you, and please, my comments are there. There's my number. I will call in. We'll have a conversation live. You tell me the difference between the devil, Satan, and Lucifer, and which one you're talking about, and under what circumstance that you decided that this word means, a bundled thing about, Freemasonry and ancient Jewish satanic ritual. Are you kidding me? And again, I have a question. Like, who are we supposed to hate? I thought we were supposed to be friends with Israel, but then we're not supposed to be friends with Israel, but now we are again, but they're our allies, but they're the chosen ones. Everyone, just take a breath, relax. This is a totally ridiculous argument you're all having. Are you kidding me? There's so few people on the planet that are qualified to have that conversation from a real perspective, not one of emotion, not one of politics or some kind of ridiculous modern distraction, having no idea of the forces that we're actually talking about here. There's so many words used in magic and concepts that are used in teaching even Christianity. Symbols, allegory, metaphor. We use it in modern language, and it's sort of interchangeable with truth, and that's where we run into issues, where someone will hear a phrase or a word and think it means one thing when they're not realizing how wrong they are. And the people who know the truth kind of don't share that fact, or just sort of allow for it, whatever the case may be. And I don't speak on behalf of Freemasons as an organization or as each individual. I can't do that. I'm just going to speak on my own behalf. And I'm going to speak truth from my heart to my brothers. That this movement is kind of scaring me a little bit. I'm a little concerned about how we're being bundled up with this sort of weird movement that's happening in mainstream media over Gnosticism and using magic as a satanic word. I really welcome anybody that thinks that they're in a position of having some knowledge that will refute anything I'm saying. Please, let's have the discourse. Own me live. I'm willing. Just again, call the number. Reach out to me any one of 15 ways. Discord, voiceandlight.com. My phone number. Text me, email, direct message, just whatever. And let's have the conversation. It's time. And if you're on the other side of that, and you're a brother that's willing to come out and speak some things as well, let's do this. Like there's nothing to hide. You know, we're all just humans. We're all just seeking. Thank you, kitten. That Discord link in the chat is to Voice and Light's Discord. Feel free to join the conversation over there and contribute in any way. Love what I'm saying, hate what I'm saying. Prove me wrong, prove me right. We're not trying to prove anything. What I'm trying to do is to ask you to step out of the cloud, of the din, of the noise, of the nonsense, and ask who benefits. Ask why now. Ask what's really going on here. And I don't mean this from some dark conspiracy emotion, but from the reality of it. And who are these people who are claiming authority over this information and speaking about it, when it's obvious to anybody who is in the know of this language that it's complete bullshit? And I'm here to tell anybody who sees that, who's also, just through the fact that they haven't seen it from the inside, don't know the vocabulary, are falling for that bullshit. Let's have a real conversation. I'm here. I'm available. I'm motivated to enlighten, to shed light on this falsehood. The thing that evil hates the most is to be revealed, is to have light shown on it. And so let's do that. Let's shine the light and let's see the truth of some of these ridiculous statements, these ridiculous attempts at bundling up and separating. What do you think is going to happen? Like, I'm not sure what the end game is here. I question what the motivation is, because I question the end game. Like, what is it they think is going to occur? If you keep twisting and stretching and the mind it pops. On one side, the narrative is that we're supposed to hold some deep Judeo-Christian truth, and the Jewish are the chosen, and yet we're supposed to now hate them as satanic magic wielders. Like, what's the narrative here, people? That's on purpose. First of all, neither of those things is true. And more importantly, by forcing you to be in this weird place in the center where you're forced from both sides to accept both, it kind of blows your ability to process. And so you sort of just say, I can't. And so whatever comes your way is sort of like either you will take for granted or won't believe at all. And so even the truth is not able to be seen in the din, in the noise. And so don't rely on it. Be open. And so when you hear it, you'll know. You'll ring. It'll be obvious. If you find yourself on one side or the other of an argument, you right away you have to go, wait a minute. First of all, is this an argument even to begin with, or is there something deeper that I'm missing that's distracting from the truth? Whether it's intentional or not. Because I think we can all agree it's somewhere in between. Is there a cabal of 13th dimensional blood drinking animals, beings from the reptilian, so on, or Are we all just crazy and everything's just great and we need to ignore things and, you know, stand in line for our new iPhones? No, it's somewhere probably in between, right? There's probably really some people in the world that maybe, you know, have not the best interest of humans in mind, and maybe that do. Perhaps we have to stop fearing technology and embrace it, but also be responsible. I know these are crazy ideas that seem so out of the scope of possibility that it's like, oh, what a sophomoric argument. Oh, how cute. Some random person on the internet wants to have both. Yes, we can. But it's not going to come if we continue to just allow for this nonsense to continue. This disregard for when we know we're being fed garbage, and just allow that to coexist with what we call fact. Join the conversation. If you want to know more about what's actually happening in groups like Freemasonry or the Rosicrucians or the OTO or the any of these groups, first of all, ask them. Ask. Do your own research, not a YouTube video, you know, from a disgruntled employee, right? You know, it's important to have your own perspective. And when it comes to certain words and phrases and grips, and, you know, the first 3 degrees of Freemasonry have been published all over the place. Whatever these fools are talking about, that they filmed something that's new and special. What, are you kidding me? This is nothing new. 1900s it was printed, when the New Thought movement was big. Most of these organizations like the OTO and Golden Dawn and so forth are all Masonic in nature as far as their initiation process, because it's very apt. I mean, obviously they're all very unique in their grades and numbers and shenanigans that they all have their different words for. It's all shop talk, and it's all pointing at the same thing. But don't pretend that you understand it and then go spread nonsense about Christianity this. We're talking about the building of King Solomon's temple as an allegory for the building of the human being. That's it. Anything else that any Mason wants to talk about, go ahead. It's an interpretation of the Kabbalistic idea, and everyone's is unique. And so whatever they have to say is correct in one sense and false in another. But the reality is the basis of the teaching of Freemasonry is the building of the temple of the person, the soul, the individual. And the allegory of the story of the building of the temple of Solomon. There's characters and there's drama. And that's useful because it helps elicit emotional responses that make us understand what's happening in the story. But that's all it is. MK Ultra fucking programming. Wake up. It's you know. You take an oath in the frickin' Boy Scouts. Are they Satan? You take an oath to marry, and we don't, you know, we divorce without regard. And yet, let's be honest. Are we forgetting? Every lodge is a bunch of human beings. People. Just like you and me. They're our neighbors and friends, just like you and me. Same people that we know, nothing different. They're not, there's no secret life. Your character doesn't change when you walk into a lodge room, when you sit on your side, when you participate in the process, when you cast your ball, black or white. Who you are inside of that lodge is who you are on the outside. There is no difference. I don't know what people think is going on. What, we put on robes and drink blood? Are you kidding me? Don't pretend to know what any of these symbols mean if you haven't heard the stories, and most of you haven't. You've heard nonsense. There are good resources. A great resource is Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma. Albert Pike was a Grandmaster Mason, wrote the book. Frankly, it should be required reading. It's typically for Scottish Rite Masonry that it's value is really seen, due to its Kabbalistic nature. But of course, even York Rite Masons can't deny the Kabbalistic nature of the Neoplatonic ideas and the ideas that are different but the same. They're two paths to the same end, and that end is the beginning, and we all know that. And so stop pretending. Maybe it's not so useful to be silent any longer. I've seen some brothers out there that have microphones and stuff posted on their Facebook saying maybe it's time to use this. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is time. We don't have to reveal secrets because, of course, what are the secrets? It's just the keywords. It's just it's like a password. The lesson. You want to know anything that a Freemason will learn in their time if they're paying attention? Understand the Kabbalistic system from an intuitive perspective, from a real, visceral experience of achieving conversation with the Holy Guardian Angel, like finding that middle, finding that space. Whatever you want to call it, destruction of the ego, crossing the abyss, the Abramelin ritual. It doesn't matter. They're all teaching the same thing. Complete your journey of the Fool in the tarot and understand that story to a real degree in respect to your life and where you are in that process, and you'll learn what the Masons learn. So I'm not sure what it is that these secrets are. The secrets are the words that they use to tell those stories compared to the words that the OTO uses, or that Golden Dawn uses, or that any of these groups use. BOT, it doesn't matter. They're all teaching the same thing. That the Catholic Church uses. Same story. What Christ taught to the disciples. Same story. Let's stop pretending that that's what's going on so that we can weaponize pieces of it in order to pretend that we have some power that we're holding on to. If you're in the position of thinking that you have power, don't forget that that was granted to you. That's not real power. Real power can't be granted. The thing you have is not real power. It's transient. It's temporary. This truth, hidden in the secrets, is inside of each of us. And there is a light that can be shown on that. And when it is, it's revealed. And it can't be taken away. That's why it can't be hidden. It can't be profaned. It can be clouded the way with your nonsense, trying to break people's brains to the point that they can't see the truth. And it's worked for a degree. But the gravity is building. We are now giants standing on the shoulders of giants. Our children are born with more knowledge than our grandparents ever had in their whole lives by the time that they're 15 years old. The perspective is changing, and it's time to reveal the truth in a way that the world can accept now that they couldn't before. It's time. That's my call to my brothers and sisters. And to you other people out there that think you're having fun by profaning my art, I'm not going to stop. My dude, sorry about my rant tonight. I had an angry reaction, which is rare. Usually I just kind of laugh. But there's some things happening in the world that I thought I finally had to talk about. Nothing political, nothing religious, about truth. And about the art and the science of our communication, our ability to know each other, our place in this world. And it's getting so scrambled. It's getting so scrambled. It's time to pick our heads up and look at what's going on. It's time to do that. So I'm kind of getting over a thing. I don't know what's going on. Some stuff floating around. My wife is feeling pretty yucky and drained like crazy and can't breathe. And I'm kind of getting over a thing. Past few days have been a little weird. And so it's gonna be a little short tonight. And get a little extra rest. How about you? I hope you're feeling pretty good, my dude. Sorry if I've been ranty. It's just, certain things I feel like you gotta kind of just speak up on. And, I saw this ridiculous video attacking Freemasonry and trying to call it satanic and some kind of ancient Jewish satanic magic nonsense. It's like, come on, that's. And so I had to say something. Because it's so foolish, it's so ridiculous. It's like, and it also it allows for certain narratives to build momentum when they don't deserve it, right? It allows certain memes to gain strength when they don't deserve that. And so sometimes you need to, if they think they're in the process of a calling, well, so are we. And it's time to just start, next time you're on YouTube and you see some kind of ridiculous nonsense about, the Jewish cabal is taking over the world through the Freemasonic blood rituals. There's a little 3 dots on the bottom of the video, and you click that and it says, do not recommend this channel. And what that does over time is it's going to let Google know, oh shit, people don't want this. And so we can stop platforming fools. Or worse, people that are really trying to, kind of shape a very ugly narrative that's just hate. And that's not what's going on here. If anyone has any misunderstandings about Freemasonry that they would like cleared up, feel free to ask. If anyone has any questions about any of the symbolism that they think is Antichrist, I would love to have that conversation with you. It's an allegory of the building of the temple, and those tools have a very specific means of the process of what it means to be a human, to be born, to live, to die, to find ourselves, to build ourselves from the ground up in the recognition of the fact that what we were was something else, and now that we know what we are, we can start fresh, and that new thing that we create is participatory. We are engaged in that process. We know who we are, and it's not fed to us any longer. The language is one that we can truly understand the source of these words and symbols, so that we're not just taking it for granted and then allowing it to weaponize our systems so that we have reactions that trigger for cognitive dissonance. You're going to tell me on one hand this is bad, and on the other hand feed it to me constantly. Like, well, which one is it? Do we want to protect our daughters? Or do we want to keep over-sexualizing teenage girls? Do we want to protect our daughters? Or do we want to make money on big titty fucking waifus? Because you can't have both. That's not a Christian statement. That's common sense. How are we going to treat each other if that's what we want? Is it what we want, or is it what we're being fed? And be very careful, because what we're being fed is unique, isn't it? Everyone's feed is different. And so, If you want to know what Google thinks you want, look at your feed and then take a step back and go, man, is that who I want them to think I am? Is that who I am? Is that who I've allowed myself to become? Of course not. No. This isn't a judgment of anybody. What it is the way the algorithm did its thing, poking at our limbic systems. And so there's a moment where you take a step back. You look at yourself from the inside out, from the outside in, from every angle, and go, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I should readjust this algorithm a little bit and stop telling it to give me death. Why does every image of a 30-year-old man with a look of despair on his face? And if you're not seeing that, it's because you're not a 30-year-old man. But if you are, tell me that's not all you're seeing. What's that all about? Okay, let's not get sucked into crazy narratives and have the power to see through that nonsense and go, isn't it funny that somehow the algorithm keeps trying to show us a bunch of 30-year-olds in despair? Like, what, am I supposed to identify with that? Well, that's no way. Derpy orange cats. That's whatever gives you your dopamine, babe. I'll tell you what gives me dopamine. My wife. The thought of the smell of her hair. How about that? Not many people out there can say that. And she f***ing knows it. And so, beat that. I don't know what the rest of the world is offering you, but that's power. That's love. That's honesty. That's being a human. It's loyalty to her and not to some image. Loyalty to myself and what I know is fucking poison. Not just to my body and soul and limbic and all this, like to literally my ability to see myself in the world, to process joy and to allow myself to have it. We deserve that. These tools are designed to do something very specific and everyone's missing it. They're designed to elicit a response. That's it. They're not a vocabulary to continue to use after that fact. The tarot cards are there to help you tell the story. But once you know the story, they're no longer useful for that purpose. They have a new purpose. And we're missing it. These words are no longer effective. Demon, angel, God. These words are no longer effective. They've been so profaned that nobody can agree upon their meaning in order to have a real discussion. How can I walk into a room with 5 people, say the word God, everyone have a different definition, and us have an intelligent conversation? Half the room's going to laugh, half the room's going to be defensive, right? It's not a conversation you can have. But we can talk about the human experience together and what it feels like, what it could feel like, what it used to feel like. Why we go back and crave that nostalgia. And ultimately what we're really here doing right now, what's actually going on so that we can allow for that space. To step back and to see through the din of the noise. Stop overestimating human beings. It even it allows us to not judge so hard why these forces are against us. They're not against us. It's it's that part of the humanity that we all don't want to face. That we all pretend that everyone else suffers, but we're above. No, we're not. The sophistication of our self and our thoughts and all that nonsense is as much a liar as is the modern LLMs, these modern chatbots that just hallucinate. And a hot take, you're not conscious. You are not a conscious being. That's right. We're being fooled into thinking we're conscious. we're so behind the reality and telling stories in between to try to justify why a decision was made that we had no control of. It's so many new studies of the brains and things we've understood in psychology all point to that same behavior. And now we finally have a technology like a chatbot, an LLM, that is so human-like that there's still arguments as to whether or not we've already have a self-aware entity inside of these boxes. Well, we do. Same thing with a human being. It's all a simulation, of course. It's not like it's a simulation in the way that we hear, where there's some God being that programmed us to go through this, but we're a biological simulation that's thinking that we're conscious. The thing that's actually evolving is our DNA. The thing that's actually going through this experience is inside of us, and we are simply its conduit. We are its means of transportation, its means of replication, its means of evolution. Just like trees are, just like animals are, just like every other form of life that's just propagating DNA in every possible form it can. We have to stop pretending so that we can stop killing each other. We have to stop pretending so we can start to love each other, and we can heal the big wound that comes with the reality that we are all going to die, and there's nothing we can do about that. We're not alone. It's okay. While we're here, let's not miss it. And while we're here, we can reduce suffering. Increase longevity. And enjoy the beautiful, diverse bounty of this garden of delight. So sorry for the rant tonight, and I'm sorry to cut it short. I figured I would get it out in as few words as I could, and maybe it'd be a half an hour or so. I don't know, but I hope I said the thing. If I didn't, it's okay, because I'm going to keep saying it as many ways as I can. And you know, Lauren, how's it going? And so yeah, it was a very I had to admit to myself that I had a very visceral experience to the headline. My reaction was so sort of solid and knee-jerk that I had to point to it and say, wait, why did I react that way? Like, what's, you know, let's not watch 5 seconds of this thing and make assumptions, and I didn't, and so I kept watching. I kept kind of seeing where is it parody, is it you know, is some kind of narrative taking place, and it was clear to me that that's exactly the thing. It was trying to turn Freemasonry and the Kabbalistic system of magic as a form of ancient Jewish satanic ritual. I had to say something. That is so ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. To say that can't be further from the truth is to not even understand what truth is. Like, I can't, there's no, it's so childish and ridiculous and dangerous and obvious to some of us that, you know, again, to put a bow on why I jumped on tonight and why I'm ranting like I am. This is a call to the brothers and sisters. This is a call to people who love this art. Keep your eyes open. Just, you'll see it in the news and stuff, that there's this weird sort of concerted effort to demonize. They're using words like Gnosticism. They're using words like Hermeticism. They're using words like Kabbalistic in conjunction with Satan and this weird movement. Scary stuff. Scary. And you know, we can't be silent any longer. And so that said, yeah, tonight's short. I apologize. I kind of had some plans to talk about a lot of fun stuff. You know, some things related to kind of the ins and outs of a neat little Goetic system of names of angels and some other things. And you know, I thought, okay, that'll be fun. You know, maybe I even, because I love that there's a conversation that I considered having about the Quran, because the Quran is such a misunderstood book. It's another thing that's been weaponized for a long time. And so why don't I talk about that, right? And I had all these ideas, and then I see this video, and it just completely changed my whole direction. And this is what we're talking about tonight, and we're going to make sure people understand the truth of what's happening, so that they're not blindsided when, you know, when suddenly somebody that's just a tarot reader, you know, is shut down, or people have, you know, cops show up in their store and accuse them of, you know, bad things, that we don't get bundled in with some kind of like, you know, like 13th dimensional blood drinking pedophile ring, like, you know, this wacko nonsense of people showing up at pizza shops with guns, looking for the, you know, where the satanic ritual is happening. Like, enough. We can't feed it. It's just we can't do that. And so we gotta speak up. If you are out there, I have no reach. I am so tiny. I've been doing this for years and can't break 300 subscribers. Like, and so, but if you happen to hear this and you are have the strength to say, you know what, there's my number. Call me. We'll get on live. We will talk. You don't have to show your face. You can do what I'm doing. You know, I have my thing blocked and I'm not showing my face. I have my, you know, stuff pixelated out so you can't see me. Obviously, I've had my face up in my streams before, so. But nonetheless, like, I'm not hiding my identity. But that said, it's important that we have this conversation, so please join the conversation. And if that even means just keeping your eyes open and being aware that you know, some things are being weaponized against this truth, and you know, you have to ask about necessity, right? Why suddenly is there this push against it? Well, maybe it's waking people up, and that's scaring some parts of the world, maybe a piece of ourselves that we're afraid to address, and we should do that. It's not useful anymore. Yeah, well, that's we need to share that idea. I'm glad that it like you grabbed that, because that's a biggie. It's an important component of this process, whether you're Eastern Star or Golden Dawn or OTO or none of them. You know, one of the beauties of this system, which Gerald Gardner gave us, Gerald Gardner was a contemporary of Aleister Crowley, and the Wiccan system of the Gardnerian Wicca is absolutely Kabbalistically based and based on the same concepts taught in OTO and Golden Dawn, just a different vocabulary. And one of the things that's a big focus of that system is solitary practice, solitary initiation. Golden Dawn has a similar idea. There's a self-initiation ritual that they've even published for people that want to join but not join, right? But the Wiccans really gonna nail that. And it allows us to talk about exactly what Lauren is talking about there. Even the Wiccans that are doing their Wiccan dance don't realize that really they're drawing sigils when they speak those names. They are walking into their Christ when they take on the idea of that son figure, the SON figure, the beautiful magic of the goddess and the god. But long story short, who you are in your heart doesn't change because of the language you use to tell the story of your experience. And so if you use a Wiccan language, you're not a Wiccan. That's ridiculous. That is simply a vocabulary that's pointing to what it means to be a goddess, to draw her down in the ritual of the drawing down of the moon. What's happening during the chords? Forget about the name. It's like getting sucked into a cult of personality and then missing the message instead of the person. Like, who cares who's saying it? Who wrote it? Who cares? That's a human, a masturbating shit throwing monkey. That's who wrote it, right? Just like every beautiful piece of music ever. Mozart was a masturbator and a shit thrower, just like the rest of us. Then he could do some math. So it's not about the person talking, it's about the words, right? And when you're in that space, it's the same thing. Forget about even the vocabulary you're using, the identity that you're taking on. Get lost in it in that moment. Become that goddess, because you are. But don't limit it to some kind of, it's so much bigger than that. And that's why when you really come to an understanding of your craft, I don't care what it is, and you take that lens and you apply it to another craft that's equally touching that truth, you will see it. The Wiccans can see it in the Kabbalistic system. The Kabbalists can see it in the Wiccan system. Rabbis, it's time to speak up. Stop accusing us of misunderstanding Zohar and Talmud, and so say it. And then but that's hard, because then that also reveals that we're correct. We just are saying the same thing using different words, and so they have to give credence. But rabbis, man, it's time. Any higher level OTO that wants to join the conversation and say, yeah, go ahead, please, or prove me wrong, own me live. Enough of the nonsense. Any Wiccans, please. Let's really have the conversation for real, and let's look at where we agree, and so it's not just a guy talking. Yeah, it's right, a long time, 46 years. Reading tarot, teaching. I have perspectives. I have drawn down the sun. I have drawn down the moon. I have been consumed by the goddess. I have been to the sanctum. I have achieved knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel. These are like, we can have a conversation about our Brahmelin. So let's do that. And don't take my word for it. There's others as well, and let's it's time. Enough. Instead of going in a circle, I'm going to sort of stop it here. And really appreciate everybody. And if you didn't catch, please just start from the beginning. And it's a short, quick little thing tonight. But it's an important subject. Please tell people, hey, listen to this lunatic rant. Please, just... Unless you don't like what I'm saying, in which case, don't share it. Right? That's the problem. If this is not a thing you agree with, don't share it. But if it is, please do. Throw a comment to tell the robot that it's something you liked when the stream's done. Like the video. Thank you for contributing to the chat. My dude, Lauren, I appreciate you every time you come in. I wish we had more time to kind of talk about shop, right? To share techniques and spreads and all kinds of stuff. And so, maybe one day we could even plan on doing that as the subject. And so I won't let myself get off on a rant, and we'll kind of... And you got to let me know who you are on the Discord, so I know what name you are. And dude, if you're not on my Discord, like get on my Discord, man. But that said, so thank you to everybody, and thank you, Kitten, for dropping that. That's the Discord. And so I love you all always, and don't forget that love that I'm feeling, that I know is true, is available to all of us, and we can see that truth. And when we see it, we can transform in front of people, and they will know what that looks like. We can heal in front of them, and then they will know what that looks. Believe in front of them, and they'll know what that looks like. Okay, great, awesome. Well, yeah, that I know who you are already based on what you said then, and so good. I recognize. Awesome, thank you. And you too, have a great night, everybody. Don't forget, okay? Always.